everybody. Welcome back to Rules of the Road Podcast, episode 9. Today's going to be a great one, folks. We have an interview with a man named Richard Worsley. He's an assistant wrestling coach out at Chaparral High School, and to hear what he's doing right now is truly amazing. He is just an awesome, just regular, salt of the earth type of guy. Very humble, determined, and keeping it very simple. So, thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope you really get inspired by his story. It's kind of like going back and watching some of the plays when I was editing. It's really motivating. It's kind of like listening to the Rocky theme a little bit, and just his demeanor, just so grateful, just simple. Okay, nothing flashy. So if he can do it, anybody can do it. No excuses. And one thing I kind of mentioned in my Accomplishing Goal series is that, you're going to have people help you along the way. And definitely take time to acknowledge the people that are helping you. I know when I was, going to school and working construction at the same time, and even up to this point, every day is one person that always helps me is my wife, and I know that there's times I probably don't say it enough, and um, definitely I definitely appreciate and I'm definitely thankful for all the things that I know my wife does for me, and if you were to know, like a little bit of history is me and my wife, it's interracial marriage, and we've both come from completely different walks of life. And on paper, you could sit there and say we don't match at all, but somehow we make it work. And she's nothing like me, which is kind of a good thing. So, um, but definitely take the time take the time to address and tell the people that really help you out through everything that you do while you're accomplishing your goals. Uh, Take time to tell them that you appreciate them and you're grateful. And like I said, you're the one out there doing the work. But if you're not having people help you along the way, it's hard to kind of do some of those things. You know, so without her support, I don't know where I'd be. So keep that in mind. And at the end of today's episode, um, I got a couple pictures before and afters with Richard. So stick around for those. Um, and it was just a truly awesome episode. And, you know, before we get into it, where you can find it: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, SoundCloud, Spotify, Podbean. Working on a couple other spots as well. Um, so this is the first, like I said, this is the first interview we're going to have. And I've got, a handful more lined up of people that I know have a very true, very truly, impactful message. And these are, everyday people. These aren't big names. And, you know, these are the people that you meet every day, whether you know it or not. And not everyone can interview, Elon Musk. And I'm not going to even try to. I want to, you know, give the platform to people who, like I said, we see every day, who are just humble, regular, everyday people, and let them tell their story. Because if they can do these things, you guys can do these things. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's get right into it. I hope you enjoy it. And then, oh, also, in this episode, we are also have a guest appearance by the head coach of Chaparral High School and former MMA, fighter. It's Jamie Varner, per Richard's request. So, Richard Worsley, Jamie Varner, and pay attention to a lot of the stuff that Richard says, and especially his rules of the road question. So, until then, I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much for watching. See you later. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Rules of the Road podcast. Today, got a special guest. I'm just going to jump right into it. His name is Richard Worsley. He's got an outstanding goal, great accomplishments, and I'm not going to take away from it. So, Richard, lead us off, man. Can you tell us what is this goal? What is this monumental goal that you've accomplished so far?
Basically just to lose weight and lead a healthier life and to motivate a lot of people and and also motivating myself. And I owe that a lot to Jamie giving me a chance at becoming a coach and being able just trying to be a leader and a good role model.
Yeah. So what exactly have you done? I mean, I know you've lost a lot of weight, but I don't want to steal your thunder. How much weight have you lost, and where do you just keep on want to go?
I'm currently down 140 pounds. I started out back at the end of September, about 385 pounds.
This is September 2019, right?
Yeah, September of 2019. Started just working out, watching what I eat, and like I just started working out in the cardio room at our school before wrestling practice and doing cardio 30 minutes to an hour, and it just kept going and going and going from there, and just seeing the results. I just wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
And my ultimate goal is to get down to about 200, maybe 195 to see where I can go.
Jesus, dude. All right. So what was the turning point that made you just want to do this? I know you said you kind of wanted to be a coach, but I mean, what did it, I mean, it's like, how did it, like, what was that turning point where you're like, you know what, you want to be a coach? What made you actually want to talk to Jamie, knowing that you could probably be rejected because of this?
Well, I always wanted to coach, and I heard of the opportunity at school that there was a new head coach for wrestling, and I have a wrestling background. So it was just reaching out to him. I was straightforward with Jamie. I said, I'm overweight a lot, and I just want the chance to be able to coach, and I know I need to lose the weight in order to become a good coach in the future. Yeah. And it's something that I'm willing to work on. And I know there was people out there that probably doubted me, but I think that's what was my motivation at that time, was proving a lot of people wrong.
Yeah. Jamie, what kind of went through your mind when, you saw Rich and were like, whoa, all right. I mean, tell us how did, take back to that first day to where you're at now. What input can you kind of give on that?
Yeah. I'll give you my side of the story. So the whole Chaparral coaching opportunity was very last minute. I coached at Notre Dame Prep for 2 years, and there with the Catholic school, with the diocese, there's really no way to build a program because you're not allowed to have any outside kids on campus, which I didn't know that going into it. When I first accepted the job, it was because Angel Cejudo wanted to go focus on his club team, and he was working with that Valiant Prep. I think that was starting to ramp up and get going, and so he just didn't have the time to dedicate to Notre Dame Prep. So when he left, I slid right in there as the head coach, and I brought up Jake Cranford with me, who is a Fargo national champion. He wrestled at ASU. So I had an awesome coaching staff there, but I wasn't able to build a program, as you know. I can't bring any outside kids. So after 2 years, I got two kids to state. I got one kid in the state finals. I got another kid that took fourth in state, and then I was having to share a room with the dance team and the pom team, and I just asked. I made one request to just not have to move my mats for that season, or just to have the mats on one side of the room so it would be easy just to slide them across. I had to turn mats 90 degrees and push them up against the wall. And it took 15 to 20 minutes every day to set the room up and break the room down. So I just had to run one request to not have to do that. And they wouldn't allow it. So I walked away. The opportunity, and I was actually going to go be an assistant coach over at Pinnacle and help Luke Padley get ready.
Yeah.
And just kind of I didn't want to have all the responsibilities of the head coach, but I would be able to just do what I love, which is teaching the technique and boots on the ground type stuff, hands on. I like that type of stuff. But the opportunity came from Chaparral to take over that program. And I don't know if you've been there, but they got a beautiful room.
Oh, yeah.
We have our own private locker room, and it's attached to a weight room. So it was just like the perfect storm. It's a public school in a really affluent area that has a good football team. So I'm like, I know they got a lot of good athletes. So it was just like the perfect storm as far as an opportunity goes. So I got that job about a week and a half before the season started is when it happened. Yeah. I think Richard called me before I'd even officially gotten the job. And he had talked to me a little bit, and I didn't realize, like, he said he was out of shape, and I thought it was just like you and I are out of shape because we're comparing ourselves to back when we were in our wrestling shape, right? Like, yeah. For me, like back when I was in my fight shape, like for me, that was in shape. Me now, even though I look pretty decent, I'm not in shape, and so I just assumed. And then when I saw him for the first time, I was like, holy shit. Wow, he's a big boy. And I knew for a fact there was like no way he was going to be able to wrestle with the guys. And even our AD was like, hey, he's a big guy. He's probably not going to last the whole season. I doubt that he'll make it. And for me, I was like, man, like what makes you say that? Like, why do you think you would just give up? And I think, it's one of those things like you judge a book by its cover. And for me, if you're a wrestler, only wrestlers really know, but like the grind. If you've ever been a wrestler, you know the grind. And you know that you're going to get beat up, and you know that you have to go to practice the next day and the day after and the day after. You accept that you're going to get beat up and life is tough. And so the fact that I knew that he was a wrestler, he had that fortitude. I took it as a personal like challenge for me to help him achieve his goals. And I think my goal for him was to try and lose like 60 pounds in the season or 70 pounds. I forget what it was, but that was my goal for him. I talked to him about like, if I can get him in here, we can work out. I know I can motivate the guy because that's one thing I'm good at. I'm good at motivating kids and people, just getting them going. And I knew if I could get him in there and we could develop a pattern, get him into a routine, that he would flourish. But then also being able to leverage the opportunity to inspire kids. And now you got the kids that kind of hold him accountable. Like that was just like two things kind of working with me on his ass. And then the kids also holding him accountable, or him not wanting to disappoint the kids. It led to this consistency. And what I tell these kids is hard work plus dedication equals success. And you said it in your intro. This guy, like, he epitomizes that very sentiment, that very statement. Hard work plus dedication equals success. Richard Worsley has worked his tail off every single day. I've been to the gym probably 10 times in 3 months. This guy's been to the gym 10 times in probably 2 weeks. And that's because he's got a goal, man. And it's been a beautiful journey. I love it. And it's crazy. I hired this guy to try and help him, but it's the way that he's impacted my life, and then even the kids and the other coaches that we have on our staff, like we see this work every day, and it's so inspiring and it's so motivating. Like the other day I was complaining about being tired, my legs hurt, and Richard just called me up because like the gyms are closed, and he was worried about the gyms closed and him losing his weight, not being able to lose weight. I'm like, dude, like this is a part of your struggle. This is a part of your journey. You know this. You got to just find a way. You got to find a way. We can always make excuses, but you got to find a way. And so I got here, and I was telling him, he's like, yep, okay, I'm going to go. I'm figuring out. I'm going to go to the high school gym. Sure enough, the next day, I see a picture on Instagram, and he's in the high school gym working out.
Yeah.
I was complaining about 10 minutes before that call about how I wasn't going to work out, and like I wasn't going to run. I was going to chill out that night. I got the phone with him, told him, gave him this big motivational speech. And now I'm like, I can't be some jerk and just be a hypocrite. So put on my shoes, and I went for a 3-mile run because of him. So he's just motivating everybody. And it's dude, it's like intoxicating. It's running rampant, man. I know like everybody's fired up on the team about his weight loss.
Yeah, and that, like I said, off air before, is I'm kind of I'm finishing up this series about setting goals, and like I said before, is like there's no better example than what he's doing right now, and that's why I was like, this guy, I hope he says yes. I'm just a guy starting out a fresh podcast. I'm a nobody. I hope he says yes, and he did, and yet here we are. So next question I got is, what made you want to get back into wrestling to be, to kind of just help coach? I know you said like, wanting to lose weight, and like Jamie said, a wrestler's always a wrestler. But what made you go, now's the time to do it?
It's when I started working for schools, it was the one thing I've always wanted to do. It was be a coach somehow. And, I'm not a teacher. I'm just security at the school, but I wanted to coach, and I wanted to be able to give back to the kids. And the only sport I really ever knew was wrestling. I grew up around it. My dad was a high school wrestling official in San Diego, and I just wanted to get back into the sport. But I knew with my weight that I was going to have to work on that every single day.
Yeah.
And just being able to get back into the sport and seeing how our kids developed throughout the season was a tremendous thing. We had a bunch of kids with no experience, and by the end of the season, we had a couple of freshman champions at our last freshman tournament of the year, and just to see their growth, and they kept me motivated throughout the season, and that's the reason why I like coaching and love coaching.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's why I do it as well. Granted, having a son on the team definitely helped, but he's graduated, and a lot of people are still surprised that I'm coming back, because we all have that intrinsic value, and I definitely can relate to what you're saying right there.
Richard, what made you want to coach this year at Chaparral? What was it? I mean, I know that like being around the kids like was motivating and motivated you, and you motivated them. But before you met the kids, and what made you want to call me? What made you want to become a wrestling coach?
Just to get back into the sport, and I knew if it was the other old coaching staff, I probably wouldn't have had a shot at my weight, but just to know I had to work on that weight loss and being able to get into it with a new coaching staff and help building program and get it to where like my old high school is Poway High. I want to see that from Chaparral. And I had only started at Chaparral March of 2019, so it was already past the wrestling season when I started there. So it was the right time to try to get into coaching at that time.
What about the sport of wrestling? Because I know you played softball and you've played other things, but what was it about wrestling that made you want to coach that instead of something else?
It's just the way the sport is. Wrestling is just two people out on the mat, and the focus is on those two people. And just to be able to see somebody being able to go out there and wrestle their hearts out for 3 periods, 2-2-2, and give it all they got. There's no other sport out there that you can do that with.
Okay.
Awesome. So like we were kind of saying before, the name of the podcast is Rules of the Road. So next question is, Richard, what are your rules of the road to overcoming bad days when you feel like you just don't want to do anything, you don't want to get out of bed? What do you say to yourself, like, no, not today, I got to get this done? What are your rules of the road for making that happen?
Just wait. Be thankful I get to wake up every day. And knowing now that I'm healthier than I was beforehand, it's a blessing. And just being able to set your goals every day of knowing, all right, after I'm done with work, I'm going to go into that weight room and work out. And you just got to keep at it. And especially with everything that's going on right now with the COVID-19, the first time the gyms closed down, I had to dedicate myself to go and do walks and runs on as many days as I could to maintain and still try to lose the weight, because my kids follow me on Instagram, the wrestlers at Chaparral, and I wanted to keep showing them I can do this every single day. And then when the gyms opened up, I made sure I got back in there and kept working and working and working. And I think the bottom line is you just got to wake up knowing what you want to do that day and know how you want to finish that day as well.
Yeah, could not have said it any better. Yeah. How has your workouts changed, you know, since you started to where you're at now? Like, what was your typical workout when you first started at 375 to where that you're at now, you know, being almost half the man you used to be? You know, how has it progressed? And, you know, I guess we'll just take it from there.
Well, when I started working out, it was just getting on the treadmill, maybe for 30 minutes every day. I would open up the wrestling room and I would just watch the study hall until Jamie got there to the wrestling room. And then he would let me go down to the cardio area of our gym, and I would just do cardio for 30 minutes a day. Then it turned into 45. Then it turned into an hour. And I just concentrated on the cardio at first. And
yes. Then it was so funny. Oh, sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but it was so funny because like a lot of like my whole staff was brand new, Dave. Like whole staff. Like I had never coached with any of these guys before. Like from Richard, I never met him before. I had another kid named Jimmy who I never met before. I had a guy that used to train in my MMA gym. Like I hadn't seen this guy in probably 10 years. I posted something on Facebook. He reached out. He wrestled in Pennsylvania. And then I had another one of my good friends, training partners when I was fighting. I've been asking this guy to coach with me for years. And he said no, and he agreed. So I had this big group of guys that no one really knew each other. We brought them all together, and they were like, dude, you're paying this guy for him just to go to the gym and work out? Like, because he would come in, like, and everybody like practice, and he'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go do cardio. But like no one knew that was like our deal. Like I wanted him to go and work out and I wanted him to do the workouts with the kids. So if like we were lifting, like him and I would try to lift with the kids, or he would just lift and I would just coach. Or like we would go do the runs with the kids and he would walk the track and I would try to run the track. I try to do a lot of this stuff with the kids. So it's like, you know, it's not one of those things where like, do what I say. Like I can do what I'm telling you to do. You guys aren't suffering more than me, or you're not doing anything that I can't do or I wouldn't do. But so like, it was just really funny in the beginning because the coaches are like, what the hell's going on? You're paying this guy and he just gets to go and just work out and lift weights the whole time and he just gets paid to lose weight. And it was just funny because then they like everybody got on board with his weight loss journey. Like the whole team, the whole staff just rallied behind him, and everybody like I said, he motivates everybody. Like I want to run a marathon because of this guy. I never thought that was something I would even consider doing, but because he's losing so much weight, I wanted to do something that I didn't think it was possible for me, and that's running a marathon. I have another one of my coaches. He's trained to do an Ironman. Like he's never done anything like that before. So again, like it's just motivating everybody around him.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just nuts. I mean, so you just did, I saw you posted like what, 5 miles or something like that? I mean, did you?
So back on the workout, so right about spring break is when I started getting in more into the gym about lifting weights.
Yeah.
So now I mix it with the cardio and the lifting weights, and I dedicate each day, like when I'm working out, one to arms and triceps, the other one to shoulders and back and lats, and another day chest and legs. And
what are your splits? Are you doing like 30 minutes of cardio, an hour in the weight room? Like what are you doing?
Since I'm still working at the school right now, I'm doing about 20 minutes, 30 minutes of cardio, and then 35 minutes of weights.
Okay.
So I'm getting a good hour, a little bit over an hour of a workout in.
Okay.
I try to go 3 to 4 days a week, and then a day off, and then back.
Another 3 or 4 in a row. So you're doing like 3 or 4 in a row, one off, 3 or 4 in a row, one off.
Yes.
And is it just like, how are you decide when to take your breaks? Is it like how your body feels, or do you just like after 3 workouts you take one off unless you feel good, then you'll do a 4th one, but then you're taking the next one off? Like, how do you break it down?
Yeah, basically that's how I'm working it, is if I want that one day to just give the body the rest, like you need it to rest, because you don't want to overwork everything.
Well, yeah,
So
they say the pause is just as important as the note.
Yeah.
And so I'm just doing that one day in between, just to rest the body. And I still, on those days off, I watch what I eat. And that's the biggest thing, is just watching what I eat. And
Yeah. And that kind of, yeah.
lunch.
Oh, go ahead.
And
Yeah,
I eat salads every day for lunch, and, fruit for breakfast. And then I do a lot of high protein foods.
Yeah, and that kind of like leads us right into the next question I have is, what is your typical meal plan, restrictions that you might be doing as far as calorie? Is there a certain style, or is it just, overall eating a healthy, balanced diet? Are you taking any supplements, or is it just a basic multivitamin? What are you doing to kind of help aid your workouts?
Not doing any supplements. And I tried that the last time I lost weight about 3 or 4 years ago. Did a lot of the whey powder and the protein powders, and I started getting heavy again. And then I got heavy again because I stopped working out. This time I'm doing it naturally, natural chicken, turkey, good protein, salads for lunch, little bowl of cereal, or just fruit in the morning for breakfast. So just watching the calories plus working out, and then drinking a lot of water and no sodas or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Jamie, what type of advice have you given him on his diet, or is it all on his own, initiative?
I think I've like thrown some pointers his way here and there. He's got a good thing going. There's definitely some things I would tweak with him, but when we were talking about diet, the last thing I wanted to do was mess with his confidence.
Yeah.
So the big thing was just kind of keeping him consistent. He does a lot of high fruit, like high glycemic fruits, and when you're trying to lose weight, like fruit, sugar, it's still sugar. Still can be stored as fat. So I mean, there's definitely some things that I would change with his diet, but right now he's happy, he's healthy. You said it yourself, he's about half the man he used to be. So as far as that stuff is concerned, I've just little pointers here and there, but nothing significant. He had a pretty good routine. Like, he had a game plan coming into this. Like, he had his meals prepped. Like, he had he was like his breakfast shakes or his, fruit in the morning. Then he would show me his salad for lunch, and he would have, snacks and celery or whatever for lunch or for practice or whatever, to try and get his meals in. So he had a really good game plan. I always make myself available for the kids. I do meal plans and stuff for the kids. I just have basic, like, healthy templates, like, of what a meal should look like. But, obviously I cut a ton of weight from my fighting career. I go from 185 pounds to 155. So, I mean, I have a lot of experience when it comes to nutrition, but he hasn't really needed much help. I mean, he's crushing it on his own.
So on that one, we're having your own plan. I mean, what research did you do leading into that, as far as how did you decide how to approach your nutrition?
I really didn't do any science. I had to basically let go of the breakfast burritos, the hamburgers, and the French fries, and donuts, and everything like that. I just had to say, I can't have you guys anymore.
It was just common sense, essentially, right?
Common
sense.
It's common sense, and if that's a science, then common sense should be a science. Because it just takes common sense. Now that I realize it, I should have had that common sense a long time ago.
Hey, dude, it's not about looking backwards, man. You're here now. You're here now. This is your journey. And honestly, had you not done that stuff in the past, you wouldn't be the man you are today. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be as strong as you are today. So yeah, it took that guy to become this guy, and that I like this guy a lot because this guy makes quite the impact on my wrestling team.
Yeah. So that speaking about making an impact, next question is whether you want to be or not, how does it feel to be an inspiration to many people, especially the ones that you don't even know you're being an inspiration to?
Man, I'm just going about my business. And if I am an inspiration to everybody, then I'm not doing any of this for the glory. I'm motivating kids. Yes. And I'm inspiring other people. And I'm proud of that. But I never set out on this journey to be an inspiration to anybody. And now I know people are watching and I can't turn back. I got to keep going. And, the second, again, like Jamie said, the second time the gym's closed, I called him and I was freaking out. I'm like, the gyms are closing again. What am I going to do? And then I got asked back to work the month of July at the school. And so I kept having the gym and everything. Yeah. And I've had people who've been rude to me on social media going, get a jump rope. And I'm like, yeah, maybe a jump rope works for you, but I need that gym and I need that workout to keep going. And if I'm inspiring people and being an inspiration, I'm proud of that.
Yeah. So, I'll skip this one question. I'll go to the next because we kind of just touched on it a lot but the next one I'm going to go ahead and ask is, any advice to anyone who is kind of maybe say in the same position that you are right now, or maybe they kind of got going and then they stopped. I mean, what advice would redemption?
Start slow. Don't try to overdo it in the beginning. I mean, I lost weight a few years ago and I think I went gung-ho with it and just started going and going and going. I would go to the gym 7 days a week and I got burnt out. Yeah. And I put back on the weight. But I just started light. I started doing just the cardio, as I said earlier. I just stuck with the cardio and just watch what you eat. It's tough. Trust me, it was tough saying goodbye to donuts and burritos and hamburgers and all that stuff I love to eat. And just start off slow and keep going. And as you said, just try to wake up every day setting the goals that you want to set. Yeah. And one goal is make it to where you go walk for 20 to 30 minutes in the evening or in the morning or in the afternoon.
Yeah. So this one it popped in my head as we were going, but how are you keeping track of all of your workouts? I mean, do you have like a journal, an online app, or you kind of just like kind of wing it knowing like, hey, this is what I did last time. I'm going to try to do a little bit better. How are you kind of keeping track of everything and tracking your progress from 375 to, about 230 now?
I started out with, on my phone, little notes, especially when I started hitting the gym with the weights going, all right, I'm going to do arms and triceps this day. And now it just comes as a routine, but it's a good routine to have, and I add little things I see on YouTube of weightlifting and trying to incorporate that into my workouts now. And it's just basically stored all up in the head now. I really don't keep a journal. I mean, I watch YouTube videos on different workouts that I can do, especially when I'm off. On the weekends with the gyms being closed, I have a couple of dumbbells here at home that I do just strictly dumbbell workouts. And
sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I was just gonna say, I think Dave, what you're looking for is you're probably thinking like some of like the organized, like some of the bodybuilders and stuff where they're tracking their weights and their increase. I don't think his goals are there. I don't think his goals are to like push weight or whatever. I think his goals are to just get healthy, to just lose weight.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I was asking this, because I know like that's one thing I preach to my team, and it's part of my series is try to keep track of everything. So just from a metric standpoint, And that's kind of where I was asking for that. But I mean, hey, you've been doing it so long. I mean, you've got it going good. So that kind of leads up to the next question is, do you have any plans of competing in any wrestling tournaments or any wrestling events, in the future?
I would probably have to pass at my age. Unless I got some old, when I get into great shape, if they have some old men wrestling tournaments out there.
Oh, they do.
They do.
Oh, they do? All
They
right.
do.
All right. Maybe.
He's got a waiting list though. There are kids and assistant coaches that want a piece of Richard when he gets down to fighting weight.
And most of those kids are waiting for me right now, but I don't know. It's going to wait until wrestling season.
Yeah. So I mean, we're kind of getting a little close here, close towards the end. Is there anything you kind of want to touch on, Jamie, Rich, that we kind of haven't gone over yet?
I do want to tell a story, and Richard, I'm gonna have you help me out with it. We at the very beginning of the year, because I don't remember all the details to it because I did not know how to delegate, Dave. So I tried doing everything myself. I tried running the practices and doing all the admin work and doing all the scheduling and all the tournament. I tried doing everything myself. So again, my memory, and I've had like 30 concussions in my professional career. So my memory's terrible just to begin with. But we had, I think when he first came on, I forget what we were talking about, how the subject came up. But we talked about if he hit his weight loss goal, or we knew if he was able to lose weight that we were going to be able to walk to a bar that was like 3 miles away after practice one day to get a beer. Because that was something that he wasn't capable of doing in the very beginning of the season. But like that was like the goal for him that I had for him is like, at the end of the season, last week, last practice, whatever, we're going to go walk to a bar and we're going to get a beer together. And it was me, him, and one of the other coaches. And sure enough, into the season, we walked our happy butts a couple miles down the road and got ourselves that beer.
Yeah. Was it at least worth it, Richard?
Jamie stuck to his word on that, and I had to remind him a few times.
Yeah.
But he stuck
You
to
didn't
his
get anything. You didn't. I was about to say, you didn't get anything cheap like Miller Lite, did you? Did you make him pay for it?
We got an IPA.
Okay. Yeah, I got an IPA.
Yeah.
That's my one culprit, but yeah.
He's bougie. It's so funny. Richard is super bougie when it comes to beer. He only likes like micro brews or whatever. What are they, Richard?
Stone IPA.
I like,
out of San Diego.
Dude. Back in my day, my drink was Arrogant Bastard, dude.
Hey, stole my drink.
Yeah. Well, I was stationed at Pendleton back about 20 years ago, so that was my thing. But so on this note, favorite cheat meal. Gotta ask. Do you have any cheat meals? And if you do, what is your cheat meal?
Man.
Your go-to.
If I had to do a cheat meal, it would have to be a California burrito.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I know it's healthy, but a cauliflower pizza. I consider that a cheat day.
Okay. Well, for all these Arizona people, what is a California burrito?
You can either have chicken or carne asada in it with French fries and whatever else they put in.
Guacamole. Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
French fries, either chicken or carne asada. I do the chicken if I do a cheat day, and I go, all right, this is.
All right, so that pretty much brings us up to the end. I mean, we're almost about a half hour in. And so, Richard, where's a good place for, where can people, track your progress and things like that? Where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at rworsleyaz.
Okay. So any final thoughts, any parting thoughts? Jamie, we'll go to you first.
Nah, man, this is really great opportunity. Thank you so much for having Richard on. I know that you saw my post about him. He's a great man, but he's a great inspiration, but he's an even better friend. I love the guy. And he compliments me a lot, and he says that I was like the source of a lot of this motivation. He credits me for a lot of this, but Richard, you're the one that was doing the work, man. It was you. you did this. And Dave, you asked a question earlier, like, what advice do you give to people, that want to go on this journey, that want to try and accomplish their goals? The best piece of advice is just to start.
Yeah.
Start. Don't wait for Monday. Your week can start any day, especially now during COVID. What's the difference between a Monday and a Saturday during COVID? It's the same. Just start. That's all you got to do.
And that's kind of like what I like to tell my kids is like, if you wait to start, you wait to finish. So I'm going to go ahead. Richard, you're going to get the last word here. Go ahead, bring us out. Any parting thoughts, and floor's all yours, big guy.
Yeah, again, thank you, David, for this opportunity, and just for everybody out there, just get motivated and just keep going at it and starting slow and work your way up. Go out full blown and go, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to go at it hard. Start off slow and you will see the progress. And that's what happened for me. I started slow and the result, and I'm not stopping anytime soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope not. Again, hey guys, this is Rules of Road. Thank you. Rules of Road podcast. Thank you very much. Have a good day.